What's up, guys? Good morning. It is Friday, June something or other. Just dropped off my younger one at the train station. So we're going to talk about how much is enough when it comes to horsepower and cars, and what I think is the best bang for the buck in terms of what is the big in terms of fun, having fun with a car, and how much horsepower is the most amount of fun. So between the three sporty-ish cars that I've had recently, I just got rid of my 911 2017. That was 120 grand all set, right? It was asking 105 plus taxes plus extra warranty, 120 grand out the door. And I had a 2007 Porsche Boxster, that's a convertible and manual. Last year I had that for about all of 9 months. I bought that thing for $17,000, sold it back 9 months later for about $9,500. Lost a little small chunk of money. And now I have and then I have this thing, which is a 2021 Mini Cooper S 2-door automatic, because it's my kid's learning car. So this car will be gone after this summer, because my younger one is off to college as well. So no more learning after this. The next car that they're gonna have to pick up that's gonna be on their own. I'm not paying for any more lessons. I'm not paying for another car. That's gonna be their own car after this. They have to pay for at least half of it, because I feel like we're trying to push our kids. Everything that they do, especially everything extra like clothes and stuff, they pay for. So I'm not paying for the clothes. I'm not paying for the car. It's not really a necessity. Everything that's extra, that's not necessary, I have them put their skin in the game so that they don't get too complacent, too spoiled, and thinking that they're gonna keep getting freebies in life. They have to work for things. So including their college, they gotta work for it, partly at least. Anyway, so of the three, let's talk about it. This car has about 189 horses from a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder. 189 horses, but it weighs like 2,800 pounds. 0 to 60 in about low 6 seconds. The 2007 Boxster was roughly the same weight, 2,800 pounds, manual, a lot of fun. 0 to 60 in roughly the same, about low 6 seconds. But that was a flat 6, which sounded like typical Porsche flat 6s. Extraordinary, just a wailing at the 6,000-7,000 RPMs. My God, I mean, you can't get enough of that. And then there's the 2017 Porsche 911 Carrera 4S, which had about 420 horses. I bought that in manual, not manual, excuse me, automatic, because my wife had always wanted one too. So, and she refused to learn manual. So even when I had the Porsche Boxster last year, that I learned to drive manual in, she refused to learn in it. So I had to get the 911 in a automatic, so that in case she wanted to drive it. But she drove it one time, scraped the chin on going to the bank at the at the teller, drive-through teller, and then she's like, "Oh, nope, I can't drive this thing because it's too much pothole anxiety. Everywhere I drive," she said, "I got to look out for potholes and dips in the road and speed bumps, etc. It's just not fun." So she never drove it again in the last 6 months. So that's 0 to 60, 420 horses in a twin turbo V6, 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. So out of the three, which was the most fun? I'm going to say the Porsche Boxster was the most fun, because one, it was manual, and that automatically raises it by several notches. Rolling through the gears, that was, now I understand why guys buy manual cars. However, as for what was the best bang for the buck, I gotta say the Mini Cooper. The Mini Cooper is the best bang for the buck because it's just under the Boxster in terms of fun, but it's even shorter and it's just as punchy, and if not more punchy off the line because of the twin turbo. You get all the torque down low, so it feels like it's faster, and it doesn't sound bad either. For a 4-cylinder, it does not sound bad at all. And fuel economy in this thing is awesome. I've gotten as much as 54 mpg, cruising at about 60 miles an hour. 54. It's actually rated for only like 34. But these little turbos, 4-cylinder turbos, they are so great at sipping gas. That little Porsche Boxster was rated for 27 on a highway, even though it's way the same as this Mini. Even though fuels really should not be a consideration, I mean, sometimes that's part of the fun. Part of the fun sometimes is trying to squeeze out every little ounce of fuel out of these things. So hang on while I park. So there's different kinds of fun. There's fun when you're, zooming around. There's fun when you're trying to park into a tight spot. It's even fun sometimes when I go on like upstate to a hiking trip, and I'm getting out like 40, 50 mpg. Sometimes it's fun. And it's also fun trying to save a little bit extra money, even though really at the end of the day it makes no difference. It's kind of sort of fun to say that, oh, on this 100 or 200 mile trip, instead of using $40 in gas, I used only 20. Who doesn't like reaching into their pants in the closet and then fishing out a $20 bill? Who doesn't like that? Nobody. Everybody wants to, go into a pocket and be like, oh my God, I just found a 20. Or go down the street and be like, oh my God, there's a 20, on the floor. I just pick it up. That is fun. So as far as the 911 was concerned, that was not the kind of fun that I was expecting. It was just too expensive to be driven around New York City. It was just as low as the Boxster, but the Boxster was only 17 grand, And if I ran over a pothole, I really didn't care. It's kind of like the Mini. If I run over a pothole, I really don't care. Plus, I have the wheel and tire package, so you get the free replacement, right? But, I was scraping a chin, just like in a Porsche Boxster, I was scraping a chin, but that thing was from 2007. It didn't really matter. It didn't matter. I could have literally tossed that entire car away. I wouldn't have cared, because I literally gave myself a budget of like $20,000 every year just to kind of blow on cars. If I bought it for $20,000, and a car being 2007, and I knew it could, like, anything that blows on it, it would be like thousands and thousands of dollars. I knew I was not going to be able to sell it back for like $20,000. I was going to take a huge loss on it. But that's expected. The Porsche Boxster, I had, the 911, I had that thing for all of 6 months. Got it for 120, sold it for 95,000, and that was, a pretty decent return, because I actually, the dealership that I bought it from reached out to me after seeing it online, after seeing my ad online. It's worth about 105 to 108 retail, and then I was getting low ball in the 70s, and other from just regular folks, and other dealers wanted to give me 85. So the dealer that I bought it from wanted to give me 95. I was like, yeah, all right, fine, screw it. It's better to cut the losses now. And, while I realized that it's really not as much fun as I thought. It was really anxiety-ridden ride every time I went, because these plates on the road that, they're digging up the roads everywhere in Queens, and, and every other week they come back and dig it right back up, and dig a hole, fill it back up, dig a hole, fill it back up. And it's taking months in the areas that I drive in. And it's just anxiety-ridden drive everywhere I go. My wife sitting beside me, she's like, oh my God, whoa, oh my God, watch out. It's just, that is not a fun ride. So what was the best bang for the buck? The Mini. We bought it for only $21,000 plus tax and extra tire and wheel insurance, of course, because my kids are learning in this. So all told, it was $26,000. Just as fun as almost as fun, nearly as fun, 9/10 as fun as the Porsche Boxster. But I can park this thing anywhere. I don't scrape my chin. I don't worry about potholes. I get great mileage out of it. have just as much fun. It sounds almost 9/10 as nice as the Porsche Boxster. And the Boxster was definitely the most fun, but I knew I was only going to hang on to that thing for a few months to a year, because it was really old. It was 2007. Anything that went wrong with it would have been thousands of dollars. And I did have something wrong. I did have a check engine light, within a few hundred miles, and that cost $1,000 to fix that check engine light. Whatever was wrong with some hose or whatever, that took $1,000. And we're talking about $1,000 at a regular Joe Schmo down the block garage. Had I taken it into Porsche, that thing would have been a few thousand dollars on a $17,000 car. Just not worth it. So I got rid of it fast after I learned how to drive manual in it. And the convertible portion aspect of that, I was not fond of either, because my wife hates the sun, and I don't suntan either. I don't go to the beach and just sit there in the sun. It's just not our type of thing. So we hardly ever put the top down. So right there, the convertible was kind of useless for us. And being that it was convertible, it was extra loud. We took it on the highway on road trips, like just to go upstate to go hiking, and literally in an hour, you get out of the car and our ears were still buzzing, because it was just so loud on the highway. So that was the most fun. But yeah, and it's just, yeah, and last in place was unfortunately the 911. Too expensive, too high maintenance, not enough fun, too much anxiety, and too much horsepower. I could never use all the 420 horses, because you just can't drive anywhere fast in New York City local, especially with these bumps. And then even on a highway, by the time you floor it, you're basically already there at 50, 60 miles an hour. So you're never using more than half the horsepower. So it's all that horsepower sitting there being wasted, all that money sitting there just being wasted. So that's why, I pick what I picked, and that's why I had to return a 911 in a jiffy, real fast, get rid of it while the value is still quite high. All right. We all know we all have to know when enough is enough, and that goes the same with saving money. And once you have 150% more than what you need to retire, you should retire and enjoy your life. Once you get up the rank and you get to, let's say, for me and my wife, it was like middle management. We didn't want that next step. That would have, for my wife especially, would have at least doubled and tripled her income. But making her middle management income, we thought was more than enough, because we were already just like living on basically half of our combined income, and to make any more would not have made us any happier. So, and same thing with the cars. To have any more than something like a used Porsche Boxster, $20,000, or this Mini Cooper, $26,000 all told, really did not make us any happier. So, everybody has different feelings on this, but for me, this Mini Cooper, in terms of a sports car, sportyish car, this $26,000 Mini Cooper is a lot of fun as it is, and beats out the 911, the $120,000 911, in terms of how much fun and etc. All right, talk to you next time. Bye.